right. Welcome to this episode of the Journey to Joy podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Grace, and I am so excited to have Jesse Bless with me today. I met Jesse just a couple months ago. We were at a professional networking group that we're in. And I don't even know, we just kind of got into some different circles. And anyway, I ended up getting introduced to Jesse. And what really stood out with me to Jesse was his love for foster care. Not, and there's that. And then he also has this amazing passion for what he does with his music and helping other people, and all at the wonderful age of 28, right? You're 28?
Yep.
Yeah, which like
Yep.
blows my mind. It just blows my mind to see so much progress and intention around like what you found that you love and what your mission is and what your purpose is at such a young age, and the impact that you're able to make and can continue to make because you have like so many awesome years in front of you. So it just blows my mind. So I am going to hand it over to you for just a minute. I want you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah. So my name is Jesse Bless. That is my real legal last name is
So cool.
Bless, and I became a Christian music artist. So kind of crazy there. Everyone thinks it's a stage name. It's like, no, it's right
Just
here on my
meant to
driver's license.
be, right? It was meant
Yep.
to be. Yeah.
But yeah, born and raised and still live in northern Iowa. I like to tell people I'm in the middle of a cornfield because I basically
You
am.
are.
Um, But yeah, I grew up here as the youngest of three brothers. Um, yeah, then went through this whole life journey of like pursuing music, and then um, going into working in a residential treatment facility for children. And that's what then inspired this passion to make a change in the lives of children who have been dealt a bad hand in life. And yeah, that eventually came to a moment of feeling the calling to become a foster parent. And now, yeah, basically everything I do has kind of like evolved around that and that mission of bettering the lives of the children in foster care, because I've seen that pain and I'm not okay with how it is right now and want to be a change.
Yeah, that is so awesome. And you weren't in foster care yourself. Like you grew up, it was just,
Right.
yeah, it was
Yep.
because you worked in this residential treatment facility that you saw the effects of them not having what, stable environment and love
Mhm.
that they really
Yeah.
need.
Yeah. And yeah, seeing so many kids that were just bouncing from home to home to home to home, or the struggle of finding placements for so many kids.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a lot of things that we can unpack. Which direction do we want to go? You're a Christian music artist, which is amazing. You've grown an amazing following. You are a foster parent yourself, which I would have never even guessed, because in my mind I'm like, oh, there has to be, because I'm single too, right? It's like, oh, you think
Yeah.
you have to have like the partner or the family or whatever in order to be a foster parent. That's false. So there's that piece. What do you want to talk about first?
Yeah, good good question.
What's
I
like biggest on your heart right now?
yeah, I guess we can like just go back into a little more of my story and
Yeah.
my story growing up and how it led to here. Because yeah, as you said, like I actually grew up in a pretty nice stable environment. My dad and mom were together, still together. Like a nice Christian home, older brothers. um yeah, we weren't rich by any means, but never had like major financial struggles.
Mm-hmm.
So by a lot of standards, it was a good upbringing.
Yeah.
For me, though, it was kind of this. Looking back, I learned that labels can be bad even if they're positive labels. And like being the youngest of three siblings, nice Christian family, known in the community,
Mm-hmm.
I quickly felt that label that I was the good Christian kid. Um, Even like growing up, the teachers would rave about me being the good student, or I'd go to like friends' birthday parties and they would to tell my parents, they're like, "Oh, he's such a good and nice boy and everything." And that eventually led to being like, "Oh, that's who I am, and if I ever make a mistake, then I'm not that."
Yeah.
And so it ended up developing into a lot of anxiety actually for me. Of like I can remember fifth grade, like having those like severe anxiety attacks when I like left my homework at school because the teacher was going to be mad at me and not think I'm the
Mhm.
perfect student anymore because there was one day I didn't have my homework done. Um
Which is so
and
wild, right? If you think about an 11, like you're
yeah,
what, 11 in fifth grade
yep,
and
yep,
having that like swirling around in your head and that pressure that's being put on yourself for that.
yep,
Yeah, heavy. It can, that
yeah,
gets really, and it's so young, but it happens to so
mhm,
many because it's not who it becomes who you are. It's not just something that you do, even if you're good at school or even if you don't make a lot of waves or whatever. It becomes almost like a standard that gets set that you're trying to now meet, that's this fictitious
yep,
standard. It's this fake
yep,
thing, but it seems so real.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Um, so yeah, and then, as I continued to grow up in, that middle school and high school era where, those social relationships become extremely strong and important in your life. Like I would say I like dedicated to my life and my social status and presence to
Mm-hmm.
making sure no one had a bad thought about me. And the way to do that was mostly live in the background. So it's like, um, it was like I didn't need to be like the most liked or most popular kid or anything, but I had to make sure both students and adults didn't have a dislike for me. And the easiest way to do that is just kind of live in the background, be a little less outspoken, always just be the nice guy. Like when it came to high school and um, you know, things that sometimes high schoolers do. It was like I I'm the guy like everyone knew respected the fact that he wouldn't be a guy who would go to a party or ever like drink alcohol in high school or do anything like that. Um, but so and they like kind of respected that of me, but also then I wasn't like a fun friend either, so I was just kind of there. Um, a little more quiet. And then the thing was, this is when I started getting deeper into the arts and music and drama
Okay.
and like improv. And then I would do like the school play and I would get on stage and play this like elaborate, like chaotic character. And people would be like, what the heck is this guy? Like, isn't this like you're so quiet in person? What the heck are you doing here?
Yeah.
But I realized the thing is, what gave me permission to do that and just completely let loose was I wasn't myself. So
Yes.
I had the permission to be crazy, and yeah, so that kind of developed my passion in like the arts and choir and drama and all of that.
So when you gave yourself permission to be this other person, right? Or kind of almost like expose or let the parts of you out that you weren't allowing people to see when you started doing, it was like drama, right?
Yeah,
Stage
yep,
plays. Um, that was allowing you, it was giving yourself permission kind of to
yeah,
see and use like all the parts of you. So tell me a
yep,
little bit more about what that felt like and then how that integrated into the rest of your life or how you showed up. Was there a conflict, I guess is my question, with like you show up as this person on the stage and you have this permission because you're playing a character and then but yet you were used to being this person in the background, the quiet person, the I do everything right person. So how did those
yeah,
two mesh together or did they? Did it create conflict?
yeah. I mean, yeah, I think it did create kind of some internal conflict. Like it was it I felt so free being able to. be on stage, and that's why I loved it, and
Okay.
that's why I kept pursuing those types of things of the arts and drama
Mm,
and improv and things like that.
mm,
Because yeah, I loved performance. Um, because yeah, there was a sense of freedom that came with it. Um, and yeah, that continued to kind of stay with me. I ended up going to school for music education.
okay.
Um, and I attended 1 year of college at a school called Wartburg College in Iowa. That was a private school known for a pretty good music program.
Okay.
So yeah, I did a year there, but halfway through, I like felt that calling on my heart is like I want to be an actual music artist. Um, and I eventually was going to switch to like music business, but that school didn't have a big program for it. And the next year came up, and I looked at my tuition bill for next semester and my bank account, and it was the same number. And I was like, oh, like this is the last semester I could go to school without taking out debt. So I was like, I don't think this is a good idea, wanting to be a musician. Um, and this is where the kind of the internal like identity battle really started
Okay.
to come about within me. Um, because on this one hand, there's like, oh, I feel called to do these big things. I feel called to make a difference and be something big and like have a music ministry and all this stuff.
Mhm.
But then internally, it was like, oh, that you're internally you're not good enough, and there's so many bad things and mistakes that you have inside of you that you let no one see, that you're not worthy of doing that.
Mm. How old were you?
And I would have been like 18, 19
Okay.
here.
Okay.
So, um, yeah, that summer after my first year of college, where now I'm like questioning these things and also questioning like dropping the identity of like the good student as well, because I was like a dean's list student. I was one of the top in my class. So it's like me not getting a college degree is crazy. Like,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that's what, yeah, like I would
It's
never
what you're
have
supposed to
guessed that.
do.
Yep,
Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. So yeah, I started really having that eternal battle, and I felt like I couldn't tell anyone about it because yeah, I can't let anyone know I'm not actually the good Christian kid everyone thinks I am.
Mm-hmm.
And this actually led to the point of a summer where honestly was like hating myself, like dealing with actual self-loathing.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I call it
not
like swimming the backstroke in it. I'm like, I am in the pool and I'm
Yeah,
swimming the backstroke. Yeah.
yeah, and yeah, it led to some bad choices of self-harming myself.
Mm.
And eventually my parents found out about that. They said like, "Hey, you need to go to counseling, because yeah, this is not good."
Mm-hmm.
And eventually I did. And through counseling, I was able to kind of work through that. And eventually just had some like spiritual lessons that I learned within that as well, of like me being strong in my Christian faith. It's like, oh, I realized I don't have to be perfect because it's God who makes me perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And like I don't have to be good enough because Christ was more than enough for me. So that's what helped me personally get out of that. And realize like, oh, like I just because of it's not because of who I am, but who I was made to be is what gives me the authority to
Yeah. And the
do what I'm
value.
called to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so good. So so interesting too. And I love that so thank you for being vulnerable and sharing that and the self-harming piece, because I think the misconception, especially with adults understanding youth and understanding self-harm, is, or what I'd always heard, I guess, is, they're doing it for attention. And you still hear it, like people who don't understand say that they're
Mhm.
doing it for attention. And I've had coaching clients who have struggled, like been through that same thing. And I learned and realized, no, you're doing it because you're trying to shut, it's like you're trying to shut parts of you down. And those parts of you that you're trying to shut down were not meant to do that. Right. And so then you have this like big angst inside your body, and that doesn't feel very good. And then you end up going to, whether it's, any other addiction or even self-harming. Like it's not I need attention. It's I don't like me. I don't like this. And I keep trying to shut these pieces of me down. And it feels like garbage. And it's almost
Mhm.
like a release. I don't know if it was for you, but the way that this girl described it is, it's like she would get to this point and I would watch her be in such pain, and then she would cut herself, and for whatever reason that sensation in her body was almost like a letdown, or like the dopamine hit that she needed to just keep going. It was like self-medicating almost. Instead of taking antidepressants, she was hurting her, she was cutting herself. It was very interesting, to understand that and to realize it's not for attention. It's you're
Yeah.
hurting, right? Like you're hurting, and it's
Yeah.
like an external show of what's internally actually happening for somebody. So I just appreciate that you're sharing that. I don't know if you have any other
Yeah.
comments about what that was like for you, but that's a very important topic because it's happening more and more often as we keep shutting down our kids and not understanding that the ideas that we're putting upon them are our ideas, and we're creating this box, and then our kids are adjusting themselves to this box that we've created for them, like that we think that they should be. And it's leading them to shut
Mhm.
down authentic parts of themselves, and they're not meant to do that. It's not healthy.
Mhm.
It's yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, for sure. And I think that whole kind of thing with uh thinking of it like as attention seeking
Yeah,
then
so bad.
it makes makes it even harder for you to get help for it as well.
Yes,
Because
yes.
then you don't want to be seen as that you're just
Yeah, there's like
attention
shame.
seeking.
Wrap it in a big
Yeah.
ball of
Yeah.
shame, and then let's just keep it even quieter and not tell anybody, and we'll just go ahead and hide it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there needs to be a big bright light shown on that. People need to get more educated. So hopefully
Yeah.
that kind of
Yeah.
helps open the door for people. Amazing. Okay. So yeah, thank you
Yeah.
for that. Hmm.
Yeah. Luckily for me, it came to light before it got too severe.
Yeah.
And it was, yeah, just more scratches instead of deep.
Good.
So yeah, yeah, but dealing was that with that it was a very necessary thing for
Yeah.
me to go through and be able to overcome. Um, and what that then led to is like, well, how does this story of mine lead into being
Mm.
having such a passion for foster care now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, so shortly after that, I started working as a special education para in the school because I did decide to drop out of college and pursue music on my own. And then when that next summer came, I was looking for a summer job, and I heard of some people that worked at this place is called Four Oaks here in Iowa, and it's a residential treatment facility for children who have severe mental and behavioral health challenges. So those challenges make it them unsafe to be in their home environment, and they needed to be in residential care.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, this would be something I'd be interested in. And I applied there and got the job for the summer. And I quickly learned like, oh, this place is kind of crazy. Like
It's a lot.
there's yeah, like there's things that happen in this world and to children that I was like unaware of like, oh, you think these things happen just in the big city somewhere, but this is happening in rural Iowa.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
so
you were what,
working with
19 at the time? Were
I
you
think I was like 20,
20?
21
Okay.
now. Yeah.
Okay. Just to keep the timeline up for people. Okay.
Yeah.
And me.
So yeah, I think it was 21 when I started working there.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, it's like some of these kids had been sex trafficked before. Like some of the like major abuse, all like whatever story you can think of, like it like there was a kid in there who had it happen to them. Um, and because of this, like they have those major behaviors where sometimes they just go into that survival mode and they go into crisis because they felt something that seemed minor to us was a threat to their safety and they had to blow up in order to
Yeah.
stay safe. And it
Yeah.
turns in escalates into violence, it escalates into small children um cussing and like yelling crazy words and sent phrases at you, and you're just in that moment like try, like your adrenaline is kind of going and you're there to keep that child safe and to help them come down and then still show them that you're still there and you are still care about them
Yeah.
even after that happened and after they tried to push you away. And I ended up falling in love with this job because I realized like in those moments it completely got my mind off of myself and it made me experience the joy of serving another person.
Mm, I love that.
And in that moment it's like I didn't care what other people thought about me. I just care of how can I be of service to this person that is hurting and it's not their fault. And yeah, being in that position and like it made me be able to experience what that kind of like unconditional love felt like. And being it yeah, experience those moments of a child cussing at you and trying to punch you at one moment and then when you're just the constant in their life, 10 minutes later they want that hug from you again.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like so it's I kind of describe it as like it was almost like a positive rebellion of like, okay, I'm so sick of trying to live in this perfect world where every of like impressing
Mm-hmm.
everyone
Mm-hmm.
and going into some of the darkest places and some of the darkest things places in the world, um because yeah, now I can go into these places without any judgment of it because I learned to completely let go of the judgment of myself.
Yeah. I love that. That's, I mean, it's beautiful. And having that experience, even though it's never fun to walk through the not fun parts, but yet the things that you, not just what you learned, but the experience that you had and the transformation that you yourself had in the way that you saw yourself and the way that you had a new relationship with God is
Mhm.
amazing. Cause that's what I've realized is where real change actually comes. It's like the surrendering of what we think it should be or how it should be, or even the self-loathing, or like I say, like when I'm done swimming the backstroke, right? In the self-loathing or however it is that I feel, that then when we actually give it to God or allow Him to be our partner in our life, it's a completely different experience. And I never understood that phrase. You probably always heard that, like, give it to God. Give it. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, pick it up, hand it over. And I don't think that's a correct phrase because I think that He's our partner. And so I think it's more like He's on your team. Right. And so then
Mhm.
He helps the parts of us that we don't have developed and the parts that are never going to be all the way there. 100%, because none of us are perfect, and makes up for the lack that we have, but we have to surrender and allow him to, which is so neat that you experienced that at such a, I say such a young age. It took me a lot of years to figure that out. So I'm like in awe at your progression and just your awareness around like, I need to do this and seeing all these parts. It's just, it's amazing because everybody, I just want to like, for our listeners, anybody watching, I really want to normalize all of us shut parts of ourselves down. We all
Mm-hmm.
do. And whether like you experience some anxiety, and a little panic attack and like a little bit of the starting to self-harm and the dark times, you experienced that and then came to the awareness and then started to be able to move through that and the surrender. And it's never, we're never over with any of it, right? We always have to learn and grow and experience our emotions. But so many of us, I mean, I shut myself down for 40 years, 45 years before I came to awareness and really started to develop that relationship with God and have that better understanding. So it is like shock and awe right here, just how quickly you learned that. And I do think that our younger generations are learning it faster than what the older generations ever had awareness to learn. I really do. So it's awesome. I mean, it's so awesome. You're such a great example of that. I love it. And that doesn't have to be perfect. Never gonna be
Yeah.
perfect. So good. I love when it's not perfect. It's more fun that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good. Okay. All right. So you now have been working at this job. How long did you work there?
About 3 to 4 years.
Oh,
Yeah.
long time. That's a lot of
Yeah.
experience.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me like what was going on or like what happened with your music career at that time then? Because now you cliffhanger. I quit school. I
Yeah.
love music, but I quit school and I'm working at this job.
Yeah. So then, yeah, I mean, I started doing music on my own. I started getting some progression with TikTok.
Hmm.
Started or the quarantine happened and everyone flocked to TikTok and it was so easy to grow on
Yeah.
there back then.
Yeah.
Um, so I kind of like developed an initial following during those years. And then uh, in 2022, I started working with a program that helped artists and music artists kind of develop a stronger personal brand. And this is right after I released kind of uh my second album, but this one was a bigger step than my first one. And was looking to, okay, now I'm actually going to go out and market this thing and do this whole music thing.
Yeah.
So, oh yeah, here's the perfect segue into this. So,
Perfect.
um, yeah, so during this time, and then I like created my first professional music video for a song called Not Afraid of the Dark. And that was kind of like my branding and messaging of like recognizing that darkness exists in the world, but we don't have to be afraid of it because God's light will always have the victory. So
Ooh, I love
that's
that.
kind of like the message that I had there with this not afraid of the dark. Um, and during this time, I also applied for this music video competition for a Christian artist that was called You God's Music, where there's a bunch of rounds online first, and people would vote. And then if you were the top five, you would get to go down and have this opportunity in San Antonio, and you got to perform like American Idol style in front of like major mainstream Christian artists and like receive their feedback. And there's like big rewards attached to it and everything. So like I'm I'm excited about this opportunity, and I get to the last round in online where there's 25 people left, and they're selecting the five that we're going to go and perform. So during during this, now it became not just audience votes, but also it was slightly weighed from like professional judges as well.
Okay.
So it came to the ending night of the votes, and I ended and I was number one.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, oh, I got this. Like, this is crazy. Like so many people came together and helped like push this through. Um, and super excited.
That's
Then
amazing. Like,
the next day,
speak
I
it.
see an email from them, and I open it up, and it says, "We regret to inform you, but after all the scores were tallied, you were no longer in the top 5."
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, I was like, "Oh, that
Oh,
was a huge hit."
that's like
Um,
highest high to the lowest low in
yeah,
like what, 24 hours.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So it's like I was like, "Oh, this was good. This was going to be like a big break for me in
Yeah.
my music career and everything." And it's like, "Oh, I guess that didn't happen. Like, what's up with that, God? Why did you just like play with my emotions just for me to
Right.
be disappointed?"
I was gonna say, like, how did
Oh,
you handle that? Because, like, in knowing how you'd felt kind of
mhm.
judged before, but now you're like really getting judged, but on purpose, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. How was there any like, does that freak you out at all? Or were you just on the
yeah,
inertia of like, I'm excited and I wasn't sure how it was going to turn out. And so you were just moving forward?
yeah. So, I mean, this was after I've started getting into like more personal development
Okay.
and things like that. So I'd been really investing in myself and, um, yeah, like, I think it was a while. I think right after that whole instant is when I first got introduced to Brendan Burchard's work,
Okay.
and started like reading his books, and then like reading other books and things like that. So there I had enough of a foundation for it to not like destroy me, and I
Okay.
was able to like go into that mindset of like, okay, well, failure is on the path to success,
Love it.
and those kind of things. But the whole next day, it was like I just need one day to sulk in my
Swim. Yeah.
pain.
Let me,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah. Let me do some backflips in my backstroke in my pool of, yeah, of pity, which is totally okay, by the way. Like
yeah,
we get to do that. Like sometimes it just is sucks. Sometimes it's just hard. You don't know why, but like sit in it for a little bit. It's good.
yeah,
Like healthy. So good. And I love that
yeah.
you introduced, sorry, I love that you didn't mean to interrupt, but I love that you introduced the fact that you started into personal development. You started to, it's that growth that you started to learn
Yeah.
for yourself. And as you take that growth journey, it doesn't mean that the hard things stop coming. It means that we sit in them for less time than what we sit in them when we don't have the growth, or
Mm-hmm.
when we take it and it sinks us, or we take it, we swim the backstroke for a day if we feel like it, and then we can pick up and we can keep moving forward. It means something different in the long
Mm-hmm.
run. So I love that. Personal development is such an important piece of my journey as well. Um, okay, so keep going on the story now. I'm like, oh
Yeah,
my gosh, you got me like edge of the seat. Email. Now it's a no. Now what happens?
yeah.
What's going on?
So, and yeah, this is where it gets kind of crazy. So,
Okay.
um, s- so then, shortly after, I was talking with my cousin-in-law Corey, and he was been going to this like men's Bible study group Saturday mornings, and he invited me to that. So I was like, all right. And so I end up going on the first time I go there is the Saturday that I would have been in San Antonio if I had made it.
Okay.
So on that day, I go to this men's Bible study group, and at the end, we're like praying and asking for prayer requests, and I just uh, the request that came to my mind at the time was um, to pray that God would put someone in my life that I can help them know that, or help them learn that their story is beautiful.
Okay.
Um, and right after that day, or after that men's group session, I get a text from work that's saying, "Hey, can you come in and work this dorm? A dorm that I usually don't work." I was like, "Yeah, I guess I'm not doing anything tonight. I'll pick up this shift." So I go in and work there, and it was I hadn't worked that door much, so most of the kids were new to me. Um, but yeah, I met a lot of them the first time, and then the next yeah, it turned out to be a good shift. The next week, the same day on that Saturday, they text me again for that evening, like, "Hey, we need someone to fill in again on this door. Um, can you come work it?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." And that time working there, I started one of the kids there. We started building kind of like a deeper connection. Like I became one of his favorite staff. Um, and just out of nowhere, like the next week, I went in to work my regular dorm, and the supervisor comes up to me and it's like, "Hey, you were moved over to this dorm today." I was like, "Oh, okay." And it's just one thing after another. I just kept getting moved there, and it like ends up becoming my primary dorm. And there, there's then this day that I'm working the dorm with this kid. I'll sometimes I just use the name Kellen because I can't use his actual name, of course.
Right.
Um, so he was 9 years old, and we were doing like the deep cleaning of the dorm, and he was paired with me to do something, and we had just been playing one-on-one basketball with each other. And so as we're going to like clean the bathrooms with each other, I had brought my own basketball to the dorm because all of theirs kind of sucked. So it's like, I'm gonna just buy one and give it to them.
Yeah.
So he he like absolutely loved that. And loved using that basketball. So then he starts talking to me about, oh, like I can't wait till I can get a basketball like that of my own. I'm hoping for Christmas I'll be able to get one. And then he says, "Yeah, usually DHS will get us a present for Christmas each year. I don't have uh or my mom's dead and my dad's in prison." And he just he just says it like the same way I would introduce the fact that I have two older brothers.
Yeah.
That that was just
It's
his
just my life.
family.
Hmm.
Yeah. And yeah, so like this hits me pretty hard, like hearing this. And th- that night was the first moment I start to feel like this tug in my heart that's like, well, what if you became a foster parent? And I was like, no, this is I'm way too young. That's something I want to do it, but
Right.
down the road, like mid 30s at least. Um, so it was like I'm just being emotional, but I mean, everything just starts like falling into place, and like I just keep getting moved to this dorm for like no explainable reason, and it starts to become this weight that's just weighing on my heart of like, you need to do this. And I'm like, I really don't think, what am I? And then I start talking with like people who are close to me, and I'm like, I think I might be called to do this. And like everything in my life starts like affirming this.
Mm.
I have my whole story posted on my TikTok where I go into all the things that happen, but
Okay.
it's like, yeah, like people are confirming it. Like I'm um there's this night I had a dream where it was me, another guy, and this kid outside of my house, and this tornado forms in the distance and starts coming at us. And the kid takes off and starts running towards the tornado, and I make the decision to run into the house for my own safety. Just hoping that, well, I hope this other guy will help him. And I immediately wake up in that moment, and I feel this like conviction of like, am I gonna seek my own comfort, or am I gonna go out there and
Save
be
him.
the one
Hmm.
to, or am I gonna just hope someone else steps in for this child, or am I gonna be that one? And that's when it's like, oh, I think I have to do this.
Yeah.
So
You tried really
That's when I
hard to
took.
talk yourself out of it, though. It sounds like.
Yes, yes, I did.
Yes. I love it. You like get told, isn't that funny? Like you get told, you get told, you get told, like you're going to keep getting told until you
Yep,
wake up and you hear the call that says, hey, like, no, really, I'm not kidding. Like, this is
yeah,
really your calling. Yeah.
yeah.
So good.
So yeah, I took out that stuff in faith, and I was like, well, I'll sign up for the orientation, and I did, and I start the licensing process for foster care,
And you were how old?
and
No,
uh, I was 24 when I
24.
started
Okay.
this.
Okay.
Yep.
It's
So
crazy.
yeah, and I start taking the classes and going through getting the house ready for all the home studies. Um, and during the middle of this process, um, I end up learning that this kid ends up getting placed in another foster home, and he discharges there and goes to this other home. And at this point, like it destroyed me, and I was like, "What the heck? Like, God, you led me into this just to be hurt."
Take him away. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, I would say I'm still kind of coming over that that's the pain that left. Because yeah, there's a lot of distrust in my faith and distrust in God after that. Um, because it's like,
Because it didn't make sense.
yeah, it didn't make sense. Um, but it's like, well, I started this. I I had a hope that there has to be meaning in all this at least. Um, the thing I did though was I tried to bring the meaning under my own control instead
Mhm.
of surrendering it, which doesn't work out too
Dang it.
well.
Don't
But
we like love we love to try that though. We like I do it too. I'm like, "Oh, but I really just want it. Can't we just know?" Sometimes we just
yeah,
don't. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, ended up going through, received my license. I did a few just like shorter term placements with so they were both teenagers first. Um and yeah, so I was doing the foster care thing. I start talking a bit about it on social media as well, and people start following along on the journey. Um yeah, and yeah, so like, and I don't regret taking those placements at all. They were meant to be a little bit shorter. Like one was like, hey, we're having trouble placing this kid. He was 15, because on his record it says he has all these behaviors, but we think if he's in a healthy home, he's not going to
Would
show
show up.
that.
Yeah.
So, in order to find him a more long-term place, we need a place that can show that he has
Oh,
healthier behaviors for. So the initial plan was just like 3 months he was going to live with me. It ended up being a little over 4. Um, but yeah, that it was good. Yeah, like I learned a lot, and yeah, I'm still connected with this kid, and had a good experience. But that one was like, since he was 15 and I was like 26, it's like it was almost like an older brother type mentoring
yeah.
relationship.
Yeah.
Um, but deep down, there's still kind of like that um, pain of like, oh well, I don't feel like a father yet, kind of thing. Um, so shortly after that placement, so this brings us to just a year ago, then I accepted a placement of a younger child who was about 7. And I, yeah, go through that. We have our kind of honeymoon phase at the beginning. And this was a kid, they literally moved in 4 hours across the state to be with me because I was the only home that said yes to him.
Wow.
So that, yeah, that's another thing of like, it really hit hard of, oh my gosh, there's a huge need in
Mhm.
this system right now if there's not a single other person that could take this child.
Yeah.
Um, and he had been in like 6 different homes already. So he had some behavioral issues, was very energetic and ADHD. Um, so yeah, we like it starts, it's going well, like I'm doing well. And then like the honeymoon phase goes away and it becomes a little more difficult. But it's like I'm still doing well because like I've had that experience. Like I've dealt with behaviors much worse than this
Hmm.
kid's.
Hmm.
Um, but I start going a bit downhill because I realize, oh, when it's just me, it's like all consuming.
Hmm.
And this this child kind of needed more than just one person in the home. Because yeah, he needed others that he could play with or spread his energy out because yeah, I was like my whole life just became like helping this kid function on a day-to-day basis, and it became like all consuming of me and I felt isolated. um that's another thing about like being a foster parent. It's like, when you have a family, it's like you have other families that your family grew up with and they're friends, and like you go over to their house and like yeah, your kid has like friends and you're friends with the parents and everything.
Hmm.
With a situation like this with foster care, it's like boom, you have a child that has no connection to the community living in your home. None of the other families know him. You don't have those like family friends, and you feel kind of alone and isolated in it. And my mental health started kind of declining during this time, and I start to feel super guilty for feeling this way because it's like this is a child in need. I should be able to be there for him. I should be able to give him that thing that he deserves. Um, or like I did foster care, I got into this thing so I could be the one that puts the end to the cycle of kids bouncing around. So there's no way I can back out or give up on this child. But I felt very trapped. And yeah, it got bad, and I had like my first panic attack within the past 5 years. Um, and eventually it got to a point where it's like, well, there was a part of me that was like, yeah, I honestly feel kind of miserable and I feel super guilty for feeling that way.
Hmm.
So I can't admit it.
Shame.
And
Shut it down.
yeah,
Don't. Hmm.
and there was that part of me of like, okay, well, I'm I'm gonna just keep living this way because I would rather just live in this state and be able to help this child than like
Fix it.
save myself and make him suffer for it.
Mm.
And yeah, it was very difficult time for me.
How long did
Um
you, how long had you had him, like the honeymoon phase? How long had you had him before you maybe had your first panic attack with him?
um yeah, things were, I would say like after the first month is kind
Yeah.
of when it
When you
started.
shut down that much.
Um yeah. Like the honeymoon was like the first week and then behavior started to show after. But I was, I was expecting that, so
Yeah.
it wasn't, but it wasn't until like a month in where it's like, oh, this is my life now. Um and realizing like I can't make the progress on my career and my music while doing this because yeah, it's hard, it's exhausting.
Yeah.
And like I wasn't feeling as, and like again I feel so guilty saying this, but it was like I felt like I couldn't fully connect with this, with the kid
Hmm.
in my home. It's like
Hmm.
I should be able to connect with any child. Every child deserves that love from a parent. um and I was good at faking it.
I was
Though.
gonna say nobody knew. You still you
Yeah.
isn't that interesting too? It's like the shoulds, right? Like I should be
Yeah.
okay, or I can, or it's all I used to say, like I'll just take one for the team. We'll just
Yep.
it's the self-sacrifice. Like nobody needs to know, and because I can handle it. Right. And I think
Mhm.
that's a really hard piece of being strong. Um, I was talking to my daughter. She pointed out, and I'd never recognized it before, that when I got divorced, I I told her it was like 2 months after I got divorced, and I got divorced very quickly. That was a high performance divorce, is what I call it. It was a high performance divorce, and got divorced really quickly. But a couple months later, I just said to her, nobody's reached out to me. Not anybody from church had reached out to me. Nobody checked on me. And I thought this is so weird because my whole life I had spent concerned about other people. And then all of a sudden, like it was flipped, and I was the person that people would usually be concerned about, but yet it was crickets. I'd heard nothing. Nobody called and said, "Do you need anything as a single woman now, single parent, like anything?" Nothing. And I just said to her, "It's really weird. Like I don't understand it." And she said, "Mom," and she was 18 at the time. And she said, "Mom, it's because you act like you're fine all the time." And I was like, "Do I?" And she's like, "Yes." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I hadn't realized." That was the beginning of starting to realize it's the mask, right? Like we put the face on, which I'd been doing since I was 5, and you smile to the outside world. And on the inside, you don't feel very good, or you suffer in silence, or you suffer in the closet, or you cry in the shower, or, whatever it looks like for you. Like you don't want to, it's not okay to look like there's something wrong to everybody else. But then when you really do need help, they don't really know that you need help because you are so good at putting up the face that says everything's fine, and I've got this, and we can figure this out, and I can show up the way I need to. And yeah, it feels like a trap. I think you use that word, like you
Yep.
feel
Yep.
trapped, right? You feel trapped where you need help, but you actually don't know how to access it, or how to surrender, or give that part up of having like feeling exposed, or having everybody see all of you. Feels very threatening to
Yeah.
and you said something too that was really interesting. When the kids go into care, or when they're in that facility, and they have the behavioral, reactions, triggers and reactions, and
Mhm.
then it's them learning that you, as a safe person, you're not going to leave even though they're going to have those reactions when everybody else
Yep.
usually leaves, right? And it's not that they're purposely trying to push them away, but like you described it very well. It's that it's taking care of themselves. It's a response
Mhm.
to it's a protective response is what it is. And we have protective responses too, and we don't know that the other
Yeah.
person in front of us is going to stay, or that they're not going to say there's something wrong with us. And so we keep it in, and we hide it, which is probably what created the panic attack. It's really
Mhm.
it created my depression for years and
Yeah.
years. Yeah. Anyway, it's amazing. Okay, keep going. More story. Keep going.
Yeah. So, um,
So what did you do?
so I'm really close with my mom. My parents live like a mile away from me, so they would help like watch him during times when I couldn't, or we'd go over to their house a lot. And my mom is I'm very similar to my mom emotionally, and we've had kind of the same mental health struggles. And she caught on that I wasn't okay,
Couldn't hide it.
and yeah, she had those conversations with me of like, hey, it's okay, like,
Yeah.
um, and yeah, she was a big support. And eventually I did make the decision. I told my caseworkers, like, I think we need to start looking for another place. Um, and I was like, I'll do as much as I can to help. But, and things were also looking a little worse for his home situation. They were hoping to reunify in like 6 to 9 months. That wasn't going to happen. He'll,
Looking good.
no. So it's like, yeah, this is going a lot longer than they planned. So it's like, it's if I don't do something, it's like this will become my life.
Yeah.
Um, so I I did have to say that, and this was like end of November, beginning of December last year. So it's
Okay.
like, uh, I'm committed to getting through the holidays and giving him the best Christmas I can. Um, and I did, and yeah, we spent the holidays together, and it went well. But I was did verbalize that to the caseworkers, and
Hmm.
they started looking for another home. Um, then after the holidays, beginning of January, um, they would keep coming to me with that, like, oh, we can't find anyone. Looks like he's staying with you. So I'm doing my best. I'm doing a little bit better mentally now because I did start getting services, professional services and therapy,
Yeah.
um, which yeah was needed. So then yeah, I'm just praying about it. It's like you want to bring it under your control, but you have no control over it.
Hmm.
And at this point, it's like I can't. If I like actually give up, I'm throwing this child to the wolves, like because no one's there. Um,
That's like putting
so
yourself in a completely impossible position, by the way.
yeah,
I mean, I hope you know that, right? Like that's a completely we do that so often. It's like either this or this. And we have these like two extremes of either I'm really successful or I throw the child to the
yeah,
wolves and he's goner. Right. And there's never it's hard for us to reconcile some in between or to be okay with it. So it feels terrible.
yeah. Um, but eventually, there was speaking with my personal support worker, and she said, "Well, there's a family just one county away that I think could potentially be a good fit." Um, and so they did respite care for him with one weekend, and that's where it kind of like gives me a break, and he stays with another licensed foster home.
Okay.
Um, and so I drop him off there, and it's funny because they're like a very very old fashioned family, like a Mennonite family,
Oh.
and this is a crazy ADHD 7-year old who can drop the F bomb sometimes. So
Yeah.
like
It's going to be interesting.
like so I
Yeah.
go over there and I stay for dinner with them, and I'm thinking, oh, I am leaving this child like this fox in a den of peaceful doves right now. Because they had a bunch of like they had older kids and like a few teenagers, and they like none of them like spoke a word like while I was there, and he's like, super loud. um so I'm like, oh, okay, this isn't going to be a good fit. But after that weekend I go back, and he had a good time there, and they I guess they had a good time, or they yeah, things went well. So then a few weeks later, they had agreed that they would take him in as their placement. Um, so and it was still close where I was able to still stay connected. And yeah, so it ended up working out really well. And with them being like more old fashioned and like on a farm, like he I mean, this was a kid you could give him an axe and say like chop down that tree and he'd just be like hitting something outside for like an hour. Like
It's good for him.
he,
The
yeah,
farm life is,
I
yeah,
loved
that's
just
good.
doing random things outside. So, and then like there being that many older siblings of like other people to be there to keep an eye on him.
Yeah,
So it's not just one person trying to help
yeah,
him function.
yeah,
Um, yeah, so it ended up turning out good, and it was a relief. It was emotional. It was hard, extremely hard to let him go. But at the same time, it was like there was a relief, and it felt so good that I knew he was going someplace that was going to be good for him.
yeah. What do you think is hard for us? And this is a question I don't know if I've answered it for myself, so I'm going to see if you have any insight into it. But it's like you knew that you didn't have the capacity and it wasn't the right fit for you, and and you knew that this was actually a good place for him, but yet it's still, you just said it's hard, it was still hard um to release that. What what do you feel like the hard part is? Does that make sense? Like, do we,
Yeah,
yeah, what are your thoughts?
yeah. Oh,
I know, sorry, it's kind of deep.
no, it's hard. Um, yeah, I think like I think there's deep down there's like a part of it that feels like a failure for yourself.
Hmm.
Um,
I would agree with
or
that.
yeah,
Mm.
that you wish you could have stepped up
It's,
or been there
yeah,
or
like
been the right one.
if I had just like,
Yeah.
yeah, like if I had been maybe like enough, maybe not enough's the right word, but yeah, like incomplete, or like there's, I don't love the word enough because I think that we like feel like
Yeah.
we're enough, but yet we don't always feel fully equipped. And then it's hard to let go of things when we're not fully equipped, because like intellectually we know like, oh, I could do it, but yet
Hmm.
we know it's not the right timing or the right
Yeah.
setup, or it is. I mean, it's a struggle. I don't know that there's an answer to it necessarily, but I think that we all struggle with letting things
Yeah.
go that aren't helping, that are keeping us trapped, right? Because that's what it was.
Hmm.
We have to let go of things that are keeping us trapped. Go ahead.
Yeah. I feel like it there also might be like a feeling of like a grief for what could have been
Yeah.
and what you hoped for
Yeah. And
because it's
experiencing that.
with that it's like that's when you're officially admitting and letting go that it didn't turn out that you hope as you hoped.
Yes.
Um, because yeah, like going into it, I was hopeful of like, oh, this I'm gonna truly experience the like be feeling like a true father
Yeah.
here, and I'm gonna be able to view this child as my own son and love him that way. And yeah, so letting that go is grieving what you had hoped for in a way.
Yes. That's perfect. I think that's the perfect answer. It feels hard, but when we let the grief, when we allow ourselves to experience the grief that's attached to it, that sometimes we
Yeah.
don't know is there, because it's like when you're like, oh, but
Mhm.
it wasn't right, and we just get stuck in the intellectual part of it, I think, and then we don't get to the emotional underneath it, which is,
Yeah.
yeah, it's sad, and we get to feel sad, and we get to grieve it, and we all
Mhm.
grieve in our own way and in our own timeline too.
Yeah.
So that may still take some time. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
for anybody else to say. I love that. Thanks
And
for, yeah.
yeah, and I mean it's still a relationship with another person.
Hmm.
Um, like even if I was struggling that whole time, like there still was some sort of attachment with this kid who
Yeah.
I was literally his dad for 4 months.
Yeah. There's love there.
So yeah,
Yeah.
um, letting that, and like even there's definitely things that kind of trigger that emotion, like then coming around this year, like seeing ads for toys, it kind of hit me in the heart a little bit of like,
Mhm.
because it brought me back, you know. And it's like, oh, I don't get to do that this year.
Yeah.
um so yeah, it was definitely difficult, but this that moment then was the launch of me really going all out for the awareness side of things, and developing my passion to like there needs to be more people involved here,
Mhm.
because yeah, during that time it was like one reason I felt so hopeless is because I didn't have faith in the system because there wasn't enough
Not
people there.
enough. Yes.
So that turned into this drive of like this advocacy of like, hey, we need more people here. We need to support one another. There needs to be awareness around this. And I started, yeah, diving deeper into like my social platforms. I started doing more live streams on TikTok where I would just put up on my screen like, I'm a single male foster parent, ask me anything. And those would start like really getting a lot of views every time I did it, and gain new followers, and people were interested and talking to me about that. And I was telling telling them about the system, and people saying that they're inspired to become foster parents themselves.
Mhm.
And yeah, I start really diving into that, and building that platform around it. And then I had just released a song called Home to You that tells the life of a child in foster care. Um, and it was like my dream to make a video for the song, make a full produced music video for this song to actually like tell that story visually along with it.
Mhm.
So I start gaining a lot of this awareness with my socials. The community's growing. There's people like donating and supporting, and things are gaining a lot of success there. So I was decided to run a Kickstarter campaign to do this music
Okay.
video, and was able to fund $15,000 for it within a month.
Amazing.
So that yeah, then with that I was able to hire like professional production, hired actual child actors, and actors to come in, and we filmed it over just one weekend, and like everyone who became a part of it became like a close family and was totally down for it. And it was a huge experience that I'm super grateful for. And then that turned into the Home to You music video that's out now. And now that's inspiring more projects of, yeah, wanting to get out there and network with the other organizations and people, and to like do events, uh, do some speaking events, do concerts, using my gifts and my talent as a way to bring awareness to this and get people to see the need and care about the need
Mhm.
and get involved in ways they can. So now, like I do plan to still foster. My license is still active. I don't currently have a placement right now at the moment. Um, but yeah, a lot of my work there is now like, yeah, I want to be a leader in this whole space within the nation that's going to change the lives of these kids.
That is so amazing. You know what I heard? I don't know if you heard it, maybe you did, but I'm going to point it out to the people who are listening and point out to you in case you didn't hear it. But the 1 7-year-old, right? He was
Mhm.
7. Yeah.
Yep.
So interesting that what what you thought the plan was for keeping him for, however long. And,
Mhm.
but yet what I just heard you say is when you, um, when you allowed yourself, when you kind of surrendered that part of you that was like,
Yeah.
okay, just kidding, I can't do this, and we need to find somebody else. And then it completely like opened up. Like it's shown the light on the fact that it's really hard and there's not enough people. And then B, like right after that experience, you just said that's when everything just took off for you, bringing the
Yeah.
awareness around it not having enough people.
Yeah.
So it's a really great possibility. I think we get so frustrated. I do. I don't know about you, but we get so frustrated because we think there's this plan and we see the dominoes line up, and so then I always say it's like my own Hallmark movie. Like I try to create like what's going to happen and
Yeah.
how it's going to happen, and like my brain starts to go sometimes. And we have this idea of what it's going to turn out like or what the purpose is, and we think we see the purpose in it. And then when it doesn't turn out that way, it can get really frustrating. And yet, when you look beyond or you have that experience and you look back, you see exactly how the dominoes lined up, which was
Hmm.
you spoke up for yourself, which is right, like the way that you felt. I mean, you had the support of your family, but then you also changed the way that you usually did it. And you said, hey, this isn't working for me, which is a pattern change for you, which is amazing and so hard to do for all of us. Like so hard. We just all stay in things that aren't good for us for so long and we just self-sacrifice and it's not healthy. And so I mean, it taught you an amazing lesson there, but then also it showed you this huge light of like, there's not enough people. And my mission is even great. Your mission is even greater, not just around foster awareness, but like around like
Hmm.
a movement. You're creating a movement now. That's different than just shining a light. A movement's like a whole thing. That's so amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, it goes back not even to this
Yeah.
last placement with the 7-year-old, but back to that first kid who I thought I was going to be the father of when I first
Yes.
wanted to become a foster parent. And I mean, yeah, when that happened, it looked like, oh, there is no
Yeah.
purpose to this. And then,
Yeah. What the heck?
like, oh, I made a mistake.
Yes.
Um, or, yeah. And
Yeah.
then I spent, I would say, 2 years just trying to bring it under my own control. I had some personal success, like, um, with my own brand and music, and my following was growing, and I was making some money on TikTok live streams. So I was like, oh, I'm just gonna press this button over and over again because it feels good and bring everything under my own control.
Yeah.
Um, and then things start going downhill a little bit, and it's like, oh, I
Just
need to
kidding.
surrender that.
I know.
Yeah.
Dang it.
Yeah.
You feel like that sometimes. Sometimes I'm like, dang it again. Right. But I mean, the growth that you have, like new iteration and like new, it's just something new because you're listening. And even if we go a little longer than maybe we think we should and what we're in, we're still get to that point where we're aware and we're learning and then we're starting to do it different, which leads to that exponential potential that we really have inside of ourselves that you're letting out, which is so amazing. But if we stay stuck in let's keep pushing the button over and over again because it feels so much better because all this other stuff you're doing, I love, this is okay. If you look at your TikTok, you like you have great energy. And this is a little bit more of a somber conversation because it's the truth of growth doesn't always feel amazing and it doesn't always look like a big bright light. Like growth on the back end of it, it kind of hurts a little bit. Like there's things that we experience when we grow that feel like garbage. That's how I always say it. It feels like garbage sometimes. But yet when you come out the other side of it, it feels so much more amazing when you do move through it, right? And not stop it and not stay in what we want to control all the time. It it does get to feel joyful on the other side of it, right? That's the journey to joy, but
Yeah.
that's the journey to joy. Yeah. I love it. Where can everybody find you?
Yeah, so my main platform is TikTok. So Jesse Bless Music. Also am on the other platforms like Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. You can go to jessebless.com and everything's linked within there. For anyone who is either a foster parent themselves or a foster care professional or interested in that,
Mhm.
or just interested in how they can be more of a support, or just interested in following my journey closer. The big thing I'm pushing now is a Discord community and a Facebook group that we have. Because
Okay.
I want to not just be me talking on a screen, but have a community of people talking with each other, supporting one another. So that can be found on my website as well, and going to the other. I think there's a button that says all links, and they'll pop up for
Perfect.
everyone.
So exciting.
Music can be found on all platforms. Just search my name, Jesse
Okay.
Bless.
Okay.
Um, yeah,
So amazing. Oh my gosh. I'm so happy to know you and to get to hear about your story. And I think you've opened up a lot of different topics of conversation and learning for people, which is exactly what this platform is for me. And the biggest like aha I have is you can be a foster parent kind of at any age. And you don't have to have like
yeah,
what looks like traditional, right? What we think it's supposed to look
yeah,
like. Totally blow it out of the water. Like that's not even now I'm like, oh, I mean, I could be a foster parent now. Like I didn't even think I would have never have thought about it. That's so amazing. So hopefully get more people involved in that movement of becoming foster parents and changing the lives of kids and recognizing those kids, they just want to be loved. Like they're just seeking love
yeah,
and safety. That's what we all want. Love and safety. Just for who we
yeah,
are, 100% lovable, just the way that we were born, because that's exactly enough. It's perfect.
yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I heard once, and this really inspires me and gives me a lot of hope and motivation moving forward, is there is this study where they looked into the lives of a lot of people who grew up with very adverse childhood experiences, but then became successful later on in life, and they asked them what was the thing that made the difference, what allowed you to overcome, and almost every single answer went back to the fact that they just had one adult during childhood that continued to believe in them and
There you go.
supported them. That's all it takes. Like we
Change.
all we need to do is be that one adult for that child, and we could completely change a life.
Yeah. I love that. And be that adult for ourselves too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So good. Thank you so much, Jesse. I appreciate you today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for inviting me on and
You're
having this
welcome.
conversation and getting to share my story. So it meant
You're
a lot.
welcome. All right. JesseBless.com. JESSE bless.com.
Yes.
Check it out.